I can remember exactly how everything started to fall apart. Not in a dramatic explosion like you see in movies, but in a quiet, ordinary moment. Almost boring, really. Sometimes, the collapse of a life doesn't start with a scream, it starts with a sentence. Casual. Thrown into the air like it meant nothing. And that's exactly how it happened to me. My name is Emily. I'm 34 years old. And if you asked me what I was thinking that day, I honestly couldn't tell you. Maybe it was boredom. Or frustration that had been building up for months. Or maybe it was just the exhaustion of pretending everything was fine for too long. I was in the kitchen. The same kitchen where we used to cook together. Where we celebrated birthdays. Fought in silence. Made up with long hugs. It was late afternoon, and the warm orange sunlight poured in through the window, casting long shadows across the wooden floor. My coffee had gone cold. Across from me sat my sister, Claire, half listening as usual, scrolling on her phone. And then I said it. If I could go back in time, I don't think I would have gotten involved with Jason. I said it like it was nothing. Like a joke. The kind of confession you make to your sister hoping she'll say, "I know exactly how you feel." And Claire did just that. She looked up, smirked slightly, and went back to her screen. For a moment, the world seemed intact. But it wasn't. Jason had heard me. I had no idea he was there. Standing in the hallway between the living room and the kitchen. Silent. Unseen. Maybe he came back early from work. Maybe he forgot something. But he heard every single word. When I finally noticed him, time froze. He didn't yell. He didn't cry. He didn't slam the door. He just stood there, staring at me. His expression wasn't angry or hurt. It was empty. And in that emptiness there was understanding. He knew exactly what that sentence meant. He picked up the keys from the console and left. No drama. No goodbye. The sound of the door closing was louder than any fight we ever had. It echoed through the house and inside me. At first, I brushed it off. I rolled my eyes and told Claire something like, "He's overreacting. He'll be back soon." But he didn't come back. The hours crawled by. I ate dinner alone. Turned on the TV just for background noise. Scrolled through my phone like everything was normal. But every minute without him pressed harder on my chest. I sent a message, "Are you okay?" No response. I called. Straight to voicemail. And that's when fear kicked in. That cold, slow-building fear that starts in your stomach and rises like ice water through your veins. What if he doesn't come back? What if he's thinking of giving up? The next morning, his side of the bed was untouched. His pillow still had the shape of his head. The blanket folded the way only he did. His toothbrush still there. His shoes by the bed. But he was gone. Completely. The silence was unbearable. I told Claire. And in her usual blunt, practical way, she said what I didn't want to hear. "Maybe you should apologize." I rolled my eyes instantly. Apologize? For venting to my sister? He wasn't even supposed to be listening. But I knew. Deep down I knew. That was me running from guilt. Because part of me wanted someone to hear it. Maybe not Jason. But someone. Maybe I needed someone to validate the confusion. I didn't understand myself. Was it love? Was it resentment? Or just exhaustion buried too deep? That afternoon, impulsively, I opened my banking app. I don't even know why. Anxiety. Curiosity. And there it was, a charge from a hotel. In town. Jason wasn't at his mom's. Or with a friend. He was in a hotel. Alone. Hiding from me. My stomach flipped. I called the hotel. A woman answered. With that polite but firm tone trained for moments like this. "I'm sorry, ma'am. We can't disclose information about our guests. I wanted to scream. Break in. Find out what room he was in. Demand answers. Ask him for face why he wasn't home. But I didn't. I just hung up and sat on the kitchen floor. The cold ceramic tiles beneath me. The same floor where we used to share wine and late-night talks. Now I felt like a stranger in my own life. 2 days passed. And then he came back. He walked through the front door like he had just gone out for groceries. Calm. Too calm. He carried a backpack, which he placed beside the couch. And he looked at me. That same empty look, but now with something else. A decision. We need to talk, he said. My whole body tensed. I crossed my arms, lifted my chin, trying to look strong. Took you long enough. He sat down. Asked me to sit too. I didn't. I leaned against the counter, pretending I had better things to do. You going to tell me why you disappeared for 2 days? He took a deep breath. I needed space. Time. To process what I heard. I rolled my eyes. Jason, come on. It was just venting. A conversation between sisters. Everyone says dumb things sometimes. But he shook his head, calmly. You said if you could go back you wouldn't have chosen me. That's not a dumb thing. That's a truth you've been hiding and finally let out. I stood silent for a moment. Then snapped back. Maybe I wouldn't have. You're not the same man I married. You've let yourself go. You don't even look at me the same way. I saw the light in his eyes dim slightly. But he didn't fight back. He just said, so that's it. I gained some weight, got older, and now you regret marrying me? I tried to explain. It's not that. I'm just saying maybe I would have made different choices. But that doesn't mean I don't love you. He went quiet. And the silence felt like a knife. After a few seconds, he said, Emily, I spend every day trying to be good enough for you. Every little thing I do is treated like an obligation. Every mistake a reason for you to tear me down. I don't know if I can keep doing this. That broke me. But I said nothing. Because pride always stood taller than my pain. That night, he left again. And for the first time, I felt it deep in my bones he wasn't coming back. The silence that followed was different. Not a pause. Not a break. It felt final. As if the air in the house had shifted. As if the walls knew something had broken and it wouldn't be fixed. The following days, I tried to pretend life was normal. I filled my calendar. Went out with friends. Threw myself into work. But nothing helped. It was all distraction. All attempts to avoid being alone with myself. Because deep down I knew. The loneliness that hurt the most was knowing that he had heard me and there was no going back. I started texting him every few days. Simple messages. Hey, how are you? Can we talk? Sometimes he replied. But coldly. I'm okay. Handling some things. I'll let you know when I'm coming for the rest of my stuff. That was it. Short. Polite. Frozen. He wasn't trying to hurt me, but he wasn't trying to reconnect either. It felt like I had become nobody. Just a name in his past. A person he once loved, maybe. But no longer wanted in his future. When he finally came to get his things, some part of me still held on to hope. That he'd walk in and be hit by nostalgia. The scent of home. The creak of the floorboards. But he entered like a visitor. And he looked different. Lighter. More grounded. His beard was shaved, hair neatly styled. He wore a new cologne. Bold. Unfamiliar. He looked taller. And that hit me harder than I expected. Because he was rebuilding. Without me. Hi, I said, barely audible. Hey, he nodded back. No smile. No small talk. He walked straight to the bedroom and began packing. Folded shirts. Books we once chose together. While he worked, I leaned on the doorframe, pretending to be calm, but inside, I was burning. Jason, can we talk? He didn't stop. Talk about what? About us, I whispered. About what happened. He paused, turned to face me. His eyes were tired, but clear. Emily, you already said everything. And I heard you. What more is there to say? That you regret marrying me? That I became someone you can't respect? That's not what I meant, I pleaded. I was hurt. I was confused. I wasn't thinking. He sighed. But you were thinking. You just didn't think I'd be here. That's the difference. You speak your truth when you think no one's listening. But now there's consequence. His words cut through me. I made a mistake, I confessed, choking up. But I still love you. We can work through this. Like we always did. He gave a small, sad smile. The problem is I don't know if I want to anymore. I gave you everything I had. Patience, love, support. And every time you complained, I tried again. I changed. I adjusted. Until one day I stopped. Because I realized no matter how much I changed, it was never enough. I felt myself shrink. Sarcasm, pride, denial. None of it mattered anymore. So now what? I asked, my voice barely there. You're just going to walk away? It's not walking away. It's choosing myself. For once. And I can't keep choosing you while erasing who I am. Tears fell. Heavy. Hot. And for once, I didn't hide them. For once I didn't want to win. I just wanted him back. I can change, Jason. I want to change. Just give me a chance. He placed the last box on the floor, turned, and said, gently, I hope you do change. Not for me. For yourself. But I can't be the man carrying this marriage alone anymore. He walked out. No slammed doors. No theatrics. Just gone. And I stood there. Alone. In the house that used to be ours. Now just mine. And even that didn't feel like mine. The days after were a blur. I avoided the bedroom. Avoided the couch he used to lie on. But I couldn't avoid myself. And everything I did echoed his absence. A month later, I saw him. At a cafe. With another woman. She wasn't a model. Just a woman. But there was something about her. Light. Ease. Joy. And he smiled. A real smile. The kind I hadn't seen in years. I stood across the street. Frozen. Watched them talk. Laugh. Share looks. And in that cold moment I understood. I had lost Jason. Not because he gave up. But because I was too cruel to realize. I still had time to choose him. He saw me. Our eyes met. He gave me a polite nod. That was it. Not anger. Not resentment. Just closure. And I finally knew. He didn't destroy what we had. I did. If you've ever said something in the heat of the moment and lost someone because of it, I understand. Share this story with someone who might be close to making that same mistake. Because sometimes, the silence of someone walking away screams louder than 1,000 arguments. If this story moved you in any way, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell. Every week, a new intense story. That might sound like fiction, but feels a little too real.